What's up, Instagram? I'm just going to wait for a couple of people to come in, but welcome to Messages from the Honeypot. Yes, I already have my vibrator in my hand. Let me relax. Let me calm it down. We'll get there. What's up, Sacred Babe? How are you? What's up, everybody? I do have notes written down because your girl tends to veer off into different conversations. So I will be using my cell phone here to make sure we stay on task. But I'm super excited for this conversation tonight and to tell you guys what Messages from the Honeypot is going to do, what I hope it does for all of us, and where I hope to see it in the future. Yes. Welcome. How are you guys feeling today? What's going on? Yeah, you got to have notes because like if you're heady like me. What's up, everybody? What's up? Oh, let me do my pinned comments real quick. Actually, I'm not even going to do it. It's all right. People can just look at the title. Yes. All right. I think I'm gonna just get into it now, y'all. So, welcome to Messages from the Honeypot. I am Michelle, the Sensual Shaman. I am a Reiki master, and Instagram. I'm also on YouTube. So if you see me looking at two different screens. I am the Sensual Shaman, Reiki master. I read tarot. I currently work with Haji Healing Salon, a wellness center on the south side of Chicago. Everything is virtual right now, but they do have a physical store on the south side of Chicago in Bronzeville. I absolutely encourage everybody to go check it out. Right now, I do a Reiki class there once a month, and Tuesdays I have tarot sessions. And during my Reiki level 1, I was coming into the realization that there is energy healing during masturbation. I was, having a little solo session, and I was like, oh, like this is Reiki. Like once I had my level 1 with Sister Shaman, I was like, oh, this is Reiki happening. Like, okay, cool. Like there's something here. I can heal myself even more. And so yeah, I would have little downloads. I don't know if you ladies have your healthy masturbation practice, but when I do, I just generally have these little downloads or these little revelations that come to me while I'm masturbating, and I'll type them down. And I said, oh, I should call this Messages from the Honeypot, which basically is just like, these are the messages that I receive when I dip into myself, right? When I dip into my richness and my sweetness and the fullness, right? And I'm in my honeypot. So these are messages that I receive during my own solo sex practice. This is going to be conversations about playful self-discovery. I'm going to give you guys actual tools and tips that I use. Today, we will be talking about movement and how we can increase our movement in order to increase our pleasure during self-pleasure. And more importantly, I hope that Messages from the Honeypot, eventually I'll have other guests on, sexperts, coaches, healers, relationship people, just anybody who has something to share, because I'm learning too. But right now, I think it's important that I share what I have come to know just through my own practice, because I think it's important. And I don't think we have to wait until we've reached 20 years of experience in order for us to share our wisdom and our insights, right? So that's what this is. And I'm really excited to share with you guys. If anybody wants to chime in and let me know like what you guys are excited to learn about, that would be great. And I think that I want to get into, just to give you guys a little rundown in case you want to kind of tap in and then tap back out, or if you're watching this later and you kind of want to know what this is going to be about. Basically, I wanted to explain to you guys why this matters, right? Why this whole platform, why this series matters. And then we're going to talk about inviting more play into our self-pleasure, because I don't think people are really playing, right? I don't think people are really playing, because if you were playing, you'd be discovering something new, right? Like a kid. Kids are always discovering something new. When we play with our art, right? When we play with editing, when we play with our pictures, when we play with lighting, when I play with characters, right? When I'm writing, there's an essence of play that happens there, right? So we're playing with our art, but are we truly discovering something new about ourselves, right? So we're going to talk about playing. We're going to talk about if you are masturbating like a hummingbird or a jackhammer. And then I'm going to show you guys at the end some practices that you guys can use to increase more movement into your self-pleasure. And then we can get into some Q&A at the end if there is any. All right, y'all. So let's talk about, I wanted to tell you guys why this is so important for me and for us, just as people who are sexual beings, right? I sit here before you, somebody who has had sexual trauma in my past. I felt very like touching myself. What? Like 3-year-old me, 20-year-old me. I'm 30 right now. And I never understood sex. It was never really a pleasure thing for me. It was just something I was doing with my partners. And eventually I remembered when I was like maybe 21 or 22 that that I'd been sexually molested as a child. I'd forgotten. I'd completely disassociated, right? And then I remembered while I was in bed with my partner at the time. And so that was like a huge kind of breaking moment for me. I went to go see a holistic doctor, and she said that there was just all this blockage in my womb. And so I sit here before you telling you as a testimony, like this is transformational, because I can't even believe I'm sitting here right now in front of y'all talking to you about how much I enjoy touching myself and how it's healing and there's energy in it. Like I am so much more than the woman that I thought that I ever would be. You know, like, yeah, eventually I wanted to just like have healthier relationships with men and not have to cry in bed, right? Because eventually I got to the point where I was like, okay, this has to stop. I have to stop having sex with people I don't want to have sex with. And so I had to hold myself accountable, went to therapy, saw all types of healers, worked with shamans. And secondly, why this is so important is because this is about aligning with partners who are full. The quality of the men that I am attracted to and who are attracted to me, and just the people that I have the men that I've had in my life recently, like it's completely different. I was just thinking the other day, I was like, I think some of the most powerful things lately in my life that have been poured into me have been from men. Like the way that they see me, and in such a way that sometimes I don't really see myself, but they're just a mirror, right? Showing me who I am. And yeah, just the things that they've said to me, I'm like, wow, like that's really powerful. And I think that only happens when I exude a certain level of fullness, right? Now I have partners who are full and they have so much to give me. So they pour into me with such ease. So it's about having partners who are full, to align with partners who are good for your soul growth, and not partners who your hurt child is attracted to because they're starving for something, right? Something that they didn't have as a kid, so that's what it's about too. It's about transformation. It's about aligning with better partners. And then most importantly, solo sex and having like a really good relationship with your body. It just reminds me of my power, to be honest, like to be the facilitator the innovator of my own pleasure, right? The fact that, wow, I can do this by myself. I can make myself feel this good. And then to innovate ways to make myself feel good, right? Where I'm like, ooh, didn't know I liked that. Okay, Michelle, like, like the fact that you are doing that, you see, like your chest is, your shoulders are back. Like there's just this sort of confidence. There's this sort of certainty that you get about yourself when you are able to give yourself this sort of pleasure and this sort of acceptance too. Cause that's what it is when you're in these sessions by yourself. It's about accepting yourself and not judging yourself and saying, yes, I deserve this pleasure. And yes, I deserve to feel this good. And yes, I can give it to myself, right? These are all affirming energies, and it's all really potent, and it makes you feel really strong. I think that that's a part of the reason that my confidence has gone up recently, is because of this practice that I have, right? So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this every week. We'll have different topics, but today we're going to talk about movements and self-pleasure, okay? Now, if anybody wants to share, that's the last thing. The rules of engagement for these conversations on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever this conversation is being facilitated, right? Because I also plan on doing some things on Zoom and eventually doing some like events, right? Is first of all, don't be shy. So if you would like to engage and say like, yeah, I felt this too, or yes, I was just having this beautiful time by myself, like share that because someone else might need to hear that. All right. So don't be shy. That is one of the rules of engagement. Non-judgmental. This is a space of non-judgment. And of course, if this is uncomfortable for you, right, talking about sex or masturbation might be triggering for some folks. So if that's true, then, leave quietly and we respect that. And I just ask that you all respect everybody else who decides to come into this space and speak freely and who have come here to not be judged, right? And then lastly, the rules of engagement before we dive in is for all of us to be respectful and responsible for the energy and the words that we bring into this space, right? Like I said, nobody should be here, making people feel judged, making people feel less than, or like they're not far enough on their journey, or no judgment. Please be respectful of your energy and your words. That is all I ask. So those are the 4 rules of engagement, y'all. Let's dive in now. Before I talk, hello to everyone who's popping in and out. Hello, hello, hello. Do you, if you feel like sharing, do you guys feel, and this is just a question for everyone, like while you're watching this later, do you feel like you are in a place of exploration during your self-pleasure sessions? Do you feel like you're truly exploring new things about your body and your arousal and your turn-ons during your self-pleasure? Or if you have a partner, that as well. Do you think are you learning something new? Like pretty consistently, I would ask. Like, every few times that you and your partner are together, or, every month that that you are, right now I'm currently not in a committed relationship, right? But that doesn't mean anything. We play with partners when we're by ourselves, when we're alone. Does anybody feel like sharing? No. Do you feel like when have you learned something? When is the last time you learned something new about what you liked? There's the question. When is the last time you learned something new? Because if it's been years, we have a problem. We just have a problem. All right. So think about that, you guys. And so this is an invitation to play more. I was making this joke, I don't know, with a girlfriend, I don't know who, but I was like, we're not really playing with ourselves, right? We call it, I'm playing with myself, or, we're dirty talking, I'm playing with myself. And it's like, play for me is this sort of newness, that the fact that children play and, they're learning something new about themselves, or they're like, oh, what's this, right? They're excited about the grasshopper, and then they're excited about the sky, and then they're excited about the grass. And that is why I've posed the question, do you masturbate like a hummingbird, or do you masturbate like a jackhammer? Which is to say, right, a child, like the hummingbird, goes from place to place, sees what feels good, is inspired and motivated by the sweetness of the tree or the brightness of the flower, right? And they go to that, right? So are you going to different parts of your body and saying, that feels good. That's interesting. And oh, if I squeeze my thigh, that's really firming me up. I really like that experience when I'm by myself, right? Yeah, you might not have a partner, but there's something about having your thigh squeezed, or you know what I mean? Just having some pressure in certain areas. So the hummingbird goes from place to place, discovers the sweetness, whereas a jackhammer drills down in one spot and says, this is how I'm going to find pleasure today at this spot with this video, and no other parts of myself can be touched, right? And so for me, that jackhammer is trying to control the situation, right? The hummingbird lets the environment inform them about where they're going to go, right? So how can we let our environment and the wisdom of our own bodies inform where we're going to go during our self-pleasure sessions, right? Not having an agenda. Try one time going into self-pleasure and not having an agenda and just saying, I'm going to explore myself today, and it's going to be delightful, and it's going to be really, really joyful. And yeah, I'm just excited and just diving in with some curiosity, and then, so yeah, are you masturbating like a jackhammer or a hummingbird? So I would like you guys to ask yourselves that. All right. And like I said, I'm looking at my notes, y'all. And in an attempt to introduce more movement, to, well, how do I explore myself might be the question, right? So of course there's things just like self-touch, right? Just sort of slowly just moving your hands around your body parts, your thighs, maybe even rubbing your neck, before you even get anything off, right? Just rubbing your neck, feeling any tension dissipate. Sometimes I notice when I get in certain yoga poses and things, like I will feel this sort of release, and I'll feel the need to like swallow, or like I'll feel phlegm being released, right? Things like that. Like that's being observant and sensory, right? Noticing the tension, noticing things moving, right? Noticing the energy moving. So rub your neck. I love a good head massage, y'all. So rub your scalp, right? Give yourself a nice head massage, right? What else? How else do we invite movement? Is also, you can use, there is something that I have, but I don't know where it is. But I was in Hobby Lobby and I saw this little feather, and I know how much I kind of like this sort of delicate touch sometimes. And so I was like, oh, that feather might be fun. And so in no sort of sexual or sensual way, I'm not about to, I'll just kind of be at home and just sort of dancing the feather wand, like kind of, it looks like a duster, to be honest, like a very small duster. And I will just use it and like kind of brush my hands against it. And it's just nice to kind of pay attention to the fact that your wrist skin is like a little bit more delicate than your thigh or whatever, right? Just this sort of delicacy that we have, and it's really, really fun. So I invite you guys to sort of play with different senses, different objects that create different sensory sort of things on your skin, right? Using your hands just to touch your body. And then, of course, more practically, when you're actually in your self-pleasure session, is introducing movement to your body, right? So generally, ladies in particular, we just lie on our backs, right? That's sort of the thing, just lying on your back. And I invite you guys to change your position up a little bit. So literally, like maybe just getting on your hands and knees, right? And masturbating from this position, or maybe even perhaps taking a little bit of a child's pose while you pleasure yourself and feel, and, see what that feels like. Being on your side, right? Think about, now y'all know you don't like it when your partner just has one, just has one position. So why are we pleasuring ourselves just from one position, right? So use different positions by yourself. So lying on your side, legs open, legs closed, right? Maybe playing with the edge of your bed, right? And of course, I know some of you all might enjoy, in your shower too, right? So introducing different you're like literally physically moving your body, right? You don't like it when your partner just has one position. So why don't we play with different positions when we are by ourselves? Okay. And then lastly, as far as practical tips about movement, is moving your actual toys, right? The toys have gotten incredible. They're very dynamic. Praise God, right? But they also are sometimes doing too much of the work for us, so much so that we don't feel the need to sort of inquire about what's going to feel good for us, right? Where we're like, well, this toy does this, so I'm going to let it do that to me, right? Whereas, like I said, you're the authority and the facilitator of your pleasure, so take control, right? Take some ownership and have fun with it. So I know that there are different toys, and I think I have this one. I just haven't really played with it much. But there's a toy that literally moves back and forth for you. So it gives you that sort of movement that your partner would have, right? That sort of going in and out, right? There's toys that, little rabbits that kind of vibrate like this. Of course, we have the womanizer, I think it's called, which acts as a sort of suction for the clitoris, right? All of these amazing, amazing things. But I invite you guys to let your toys work for you, right? So one of the things that I've discovered just through curiosity, and I'm like, like I want to feel something different. Like I wonder if what would happen if I did this, right? So to that answer, I invite you guys to whatever toy you have. And of course, depending on the ridges and the curvature and whatever mechanisms the toy has, literally just like you're turning the knob on your car radio or the AC, just to go like this. I'm gonna show Instagram and YouTube. So just to go like this, and what that's doing is turning the curve of this. It's going, it's inside of the vagina, and so it's breast pushing against different parts of the inner vagina, right? So parts that you're not usually touching, because usually you're just letting it go in this way, right? But what happens when it's touching, this side of the inner wall and this side and moving like that, y'all? I was like, oh, wow. Right. Like, cause we're not really playing, cause we're just, yep, I'm going to go like this and I'm just going to have sex with myself like this. Right. So literally just moving the toy like this might do something for you. Now, everyone's different, but that's just something that I've discovered and that I've had a lot of fun with. And then also allowing the movement from, there's something really, really beautiful that happens when I have different sounds on, right? Just like when Afro beats comes on, my body just moves different, right? Than when an R&B song is on. Right? Your body moves different when, you got reggaeton versus some gospel, right? It's a different, it's still spirit. It's still this energy, but it's different, right? Your body moves different. Your hips move different. You know what I mean? Like your chest moves different when certain songs are on, you feel me? So movement through music. So letting the music inform your body about how to move, right? So those are the 3 ways we can introduce movement into our solo sex practice. All right, I'm going to review again. So 1 is through literally moving your physical body, right? So changing your position when you're having sex with yourself. When you are self-pleasuring, change your position. Get on your hands and knees, go over the edge of the bed, something different, right? 2 is the movement of the toy itself, right? Doing little different things, doing shallow movements and then deep thrust, right? Literally just play. Just play. You're just there by yourself. Why not? Like, no one's there to make fun of you. No one's there to judge you. And I really, really think that this speaks to this sort of judgment that we have on other people. The fact that we're judging them and sizing them up is because we're judging and sizing up ourselves. So I think this lack of judgment that I've been able to adopt through my self-pleasure practice, I'm like, well, so what? I'm moving my hips like this. Like, it might not look sexy, right? But this is what feels good. Like I was moving my hips like a sort of like a windshield wiper. That's not sexy. Like I might not want to do that in front of a partner, but that's what felt good for me in that moment. And so I just kept moving my hips like that in bed, just side to side. I don't care what it looks like. It feels good. Let your body inform you and not your mind. Your mind is not the authority here. Okay. And then last but not least, like I said, movement, using the music to inform your body how to move, right? Because and this is one of my downloads that I will share with you guys, that the body has innate wisdom, right? And, we're beautiful humans, but we have a lot of data and stuff and things and theories and opinions and ideologies that come, that kind of make us forget the wisdom of the body. And the People's Oracle talks about this. She's like, whose time are you on? We're talking about your boss is telling you what time you eat, and your body tells you when you're hungry, right? So that sort of idea that we're letting other things inform how our body should move. And what better way to get back to the authority of our body than through masturbation, right? So I wrote that the body had the body wisdom. Our bodies house so much wisdom. I remembered as I masturbated, and my breath and body seemed to move with the music I was playing. Before my mind could analyze what was happening, my body was already in synchronicity, breath, rhythm, and movement. And it's not that the body remembered to move that way, right? It's not like right? Just like your mind is like, oh yeah, I remember, like this is what looks good, right? The body isn't remembering it's not remembering to move that way. It's just being. When it's allowed to be without any supervision of the mind, the body can just be. Right. So when the body is allowed to be without the supervision of the mind, magic. right? And that is what the work that we are going to do, is to let the mind stop supervising our solo sex practice. The mind is not the authority here. Our body is. So let your body move and gyrate the way it wants to. No one is judging you. And maybe that's part of your work in the beginning, is to stop judging yourself when you're in your bed by yourself. Like, because then once you got somebody in the bed with you, you're like, baby, I don't care how I look. I know this feels good, so keep going. Right? Like, I don't care how I look. This is what makes me feel good. And when I feel good, I look good, right? When I'm feeling good, I look sexy, right? When I'm feeling pleasure and I'm aroused and my body is changing and my breath is pacing and you know what I mean? My chest is rising. I look sexy anyway because I feel good. Sacro Babe said, yes, sex is not about looking good. Exactly. It's not. And that's, it's not about looking good. And, you know, ladies and all, you know, and all, like, we're so consumed with, well, how do I look on top? Like, how are my titties looking? Like, me too. But there is this sort of, in some way, this way that I've sort of taken the authority back for myself is one of the things that I've learned that arouses me through my own practice is that I actually like to be watched, right? So I allow myself to be watched without touching me, right? You're not involved. Let me just be, right? Let me feel good. Let me move the way that I want. And in that sort of, I like this, I've had to let go of a lot of judgment. Like, okay, well, if I'm going to have my partner looking at me and having this very, very intimate and vulnerable moment with me, I have to stop judging myself and thinking about, well, how do I look? And it still happens. It still happens where I'm like, oh, do I look good? Like, is my back arched enough? Like, you know, stuff like that. But it's really, really helped. So there is this sort of, I really think that some of our greatest kinks and the things that we really like, it is a doorway to our freedom, right? So I judge myself. We all judge ourselves quite a bit, but I judge myself a lot. I'm very, very much consumed with, well, how am I being perceived? I'm very much consumed that, well, a lot of people aren't on this live. Like, what does that mean? Does this mean this stuff is not valuable, Michelle? Does this stuff even matter? Right? These things have come across my mind during this live, right? But it's like, it doesn't matter. It feels good. I know I want to talk about this, right? And the same with the, whatever your kink is, it is a doorway. So whether you like to be dominant, right? And you want to tell your partner what to do and say, you know, and have these kind of commands, that's you, you know, that's you having power over your voice and also building trust, right? Like, I'm trustworthy. Like, my partner will trust me when I tell them to move this way and to perform this way. Like, there's an aspect of trust that you're also trying to build within yourself, right? Like, I trust my voice, right? So that sort of dominant inclination is also about you trusting your voice. So there's so many beautiful things and lessons that can come when we start to have liberated sex lives and liberated sexual and healthy relationships with ourselves, right? So this is what this whole series is going to be about. Does anybody have any questions? But yeah, this is what this series is going to be about. It's about creating a better and healthier sexual relationship with ourselves, right? And then that creates such a beautiful sexual relationship with others. Really, it really, really does. I am the testimony. Maybe one day I'll have one of the guys come on Instagram Live because some of them are into this sort of work. I really, really want to have some men who are in sort of sexual spirit, in the spirit of sex, right? They kind of understand the sexual and the spiritual go together, and talk to him about men's sort of relationship with masturbation, because I think that they're even more disconnected than women are, right? And women are pretty disconnected, but I think men are especially, like, they're very, like, the same thing, same formula, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, how do you guys get free, right? I want to talk to men about how they free themselves sexually, because baby, I can't be the only free person in this bed. We gotta be we gotta be trying to get free together. This is not gonna work. So does anybody have any questions, any tips that you want to share? Sacral Babe, if you're still here. I love Sacral Babe, right? She's got the orange in the back, right? Our sacral chakra, the seat of our personality and our sexual desires, our need to procreate and create. So yeah, the sacral chakra is super, super important. And if you guys want to sort of talk more about or learn more about sort of moving the energy, I do offer Reiki. The first session is always 45 minutes, so you can get attuned, and then you can kind of do just 30-minute sessions after that, just to get, 30-minute attunement, and the 45 minutes is this initial sort of, hey, let's see where you are. So Reiki is really, really powerful. And if anything, what is Reiki? I think that Reiki is when you go and sit under a tree and you just feel good, right? When you just go in nature and you're like, everything's okay. Like, wow, this is really, that's where I feel like the tree is giving us Reiki. So that's the easiest way I would, what is Reiki? That it's nature medicine. And it's just me connecting with that and then getting that energy to move anything and just sort of tap into what's going on with you. All right, loving Brittany Rising said, not a question, but love this, and it feels good being in community talking about self-pleasure. Yes. I hope that eventually I will have more people here. And I do want to talk to you guys because I really don't like the idea of just giving you guys information. Like, I think that I am at my best when I'm in conversation with others, because there's this sort of shared brilliance that comes. Like, I know it because me and my homegirl Nina will be in our voice notes, like literally spitting to each other. I'm like, yo, this is so good. So I really want to be in conversation. So I think maybe eventually I'll maybe move these over to Zoom so we can actually speak, right? Sacred Babe says, oh, love you. I'm loving this live and series. Thank you so much. Yes. I really have some big plans for this. I won't get excited and share it with y'all just yet because this is literally just the first episode, but I really have an idea of how this could spill into other parts of creativity for me, and some partnerships with some other beautiful healers and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube and Instagram. I hope that this is exciting you guys. I hope that it is getting you excited about self-exploration, because I'm really, really telling you guys that I am the woman that I am right now is the dream I didn't even dream up, right? Like, yeah, I dreamed of being pretty, like, comfortable in my body, but literally sitting here on the internet talking about it is crazy. So I'm really excited to talk more with you guys, and I can't wait to hear your stories, your insights, your revelations as you dip into your own honeypot. I will talk to you guys later.